What's happening, Mad Squad? It's Joe, aka Mad Joe FC, and I'm changing the name of my series ComicTalk to ComicChat. I watch a lot of other comic-related videos, other people give reviews and things like that, and I've seen like 3 to 4 different channels that name their comic videos ComicTalk, and so the idea for this series, the way I make my videos and title and everything, is for it to be as different and as original as possible. And if 2 to 3 other different people name their videos ComicTalk, I don't want to have the same name as them. I want to have, my own name. So it's going to be called ComicChat, and to be completely honest, I like the name ComicChat better. So in this episode of ComicChat, we are going to be reviewing Secret Empire issue 1, written by Nick Spencer. Secret Empire tells the story of Captain America going against America's interest in being the leader of Hydra. Before I get into this review, I just want to say I love and appreciate all of you who watch these reviews. I know they don't get as much views as my other videos, so I appreciate all of you who watch these videos. And they take pretty much an entire day for me to put together. So my plan for now is to at least have 1 or 2 ComicTalk videos out per week. If not 2, then at least 1. That's the goal, at least 1 or 2 ComicTalk videos per week. 1 for Marvel and 1 for DC. Now, let's get into this review. Our issue begins in a town called Greensboro as we see a guy named Brian McAllister dropping off at school his little brother Jason. A kid in Jason's class named DeMarcus stole his lunchbox, and Brian says he will try and get him a new one. Jason has a particular lunchbox in mind though, a Captain America lunchbox. As Jason arrives to class late and the bell rings, the teacher says, "Okay class, the bell has rung, you know what to do." They all stand from their chairs and yell, "Hail Hydra!" During this history lesson, it seems to appear that some historic events have been altered and rewritten. We learn that now, instead of Abraham Erskine, it was Arnim Zola who ran the super soldier program for the Allies. He secretly created greatly superior forces for Hydra, and it was one of the covert operations that gained Hydra an advantage in the war. What Jason's teacher calls the Great Illusion is America winning the war. She says when the war was ending and the Allied powers were facing defeat, they committed an unconscionable crime against all of humanity. She tells the class that the Allies made them forget who they really are and made them believe that they had won the war. But thanks to Captain America, they had woken from the dream. Apparently, he has been restored to his true self and is helping everyone else do so as well. So, some really weird stuff is happening. Marcus, the kid who stole Jason's lunchbox, reports the threat of Jason's brother, Brian, doing some really weird things behind the restaurant they both work at. Later, we see Brian hurry home and run in his house. Brian looks as if he's going to puke, which is exactly what he does. What he pukes out is a Captain America lunchbox. There is a knock at the door. The door is kicked in and Hydra forces come in and tell Brian he's under arrest for not being registered with his local observation committee. As we learn that Brian is an Inhuman. Narrative starts saying, when people tell you this attack or war or invasion will change the world? This time, it really did. And it did for the worst. The worst part is how it happened. In space, Carol Danvers, also known as Captain Marvel, sends out a distress call, saying they have been attacked and need immediate and urgent assistance. There is more narrative, saying, "It was from within that we were attacked. When we were at our weakest moment, torn apart and divided, we turned to the person we thought we could trust." Carol says he manipulated them into setting themselves a trap by using their fears against them to build a shield around their world to keep out dangers. In the end, they were isolated from everything that mattered to them. As he keeps sending in waves of his invading army after them, Carol continues her distress call, saying, "Some who receive this message might think humanity did this to itself, and you might be right. But you can't be afraid or silent, because he won't stop with the United States or even Earth. If you turn away now, he will find you soon enough." The narration ends with, "We are stranded and can't make contact with Earth. Also, our defenses are broken. We will all pay the price together." and there is a huge flash of light. The distress call comes to an end with Curl saying a Shatari wave is headed towards them. The call cuts short with her saying they have to find a way to beat him, and they have to do it by fighting together. Before we continue our story, it is common in Marvel comic book events to be shown a roster of where everyone stands, who is involved in each issue. You can always skip this part of the review if you're not interested in who is and who isn't involved. Those involved with Hydra Command are Captain America, Madam Hydra, Baron Zemo, Viper, Kraken, Arnim Zola, Hive, Gorgon, and Dr. Faustus. Avengers who are involved are Thor Odinson, Deadpool, Scarlet Witch, Vision, Taskmaster, Black Ant, and Superior Octopus. Those who are exiled are Captain Marvel, who is beyond the shield that protects Earth, and Doctor Strange, who is in the Dark Force in New York. Primary targets are Black Widow, Hawkeye, Hulk Amadeus Cho, Wasp, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Vision, Ironheart, The Thing, Giant Man, Ant-Man, and an AI version of Tony Stark. We pick up at Las Vegas, where we see a kid running from Hydra forces. Two people are scoping out the alley, and when they detect that this is the kid they are looking for, Amadeus Cho comes out of a door and tells the kid to follow him. The kid tells Amadeus, not knowing he's the Hulk, that he was supposed to meet someone from the underground, but they never came. Amadeus says that if the underground is setting up a meeting with someone they don't know, they rat them out to Hydra and monitor the chatter to make sure it isn't a trap. Then Amadeus transforms into the Hulk and takes out the Hydra men chasing them. Then Wasp, Vision, Falcon, and Spider-Man show up and let the kid know they're the underground. After the kid tells them his name is Rayshawn, they ask if he has it, and as Rayshawn begins to grab it from his bag, a group of dreadnoughts come. As they are running, Ironheart comes with a fantastic car to help them escape. We're now in Denver, where Captain America seems to be standing in front of something. That thing calls itself Krigoroth, and it hungers for people. Captain Rogers tells the monster to leave the city and go back to where he came from, and he will forgive the trespass committed and spare his life. The monster tells Rogers to bring out his army for his feast. And so, Steve walks away and says, "Avengers, assemble." Thor, Vision, Scarlet Witch, and the rest of the Avengers attack and kill the Beast. The Denver News broadcast shows multiple stories of things happening around the world, thanks to Hydra, involving violent crime decreasing, new heights for market exchanges, new projects and job growth, new trade agreements, and the Hydra High Council planning to discuss new national defense strategies, and the Day of Reckoning, where around 20 people convicted of treason will face the firing squad. Captain Rogers is in a meeting with the Hydra Command as they discuss how they're keeping everyone and everything in check, including cocktails to increase receptiveness, monitoring communications on the Northern California border to make sure they aren't violating their treaty, and 2 new detention facilities being opened. As Steve is about to leave, Zola informs him about an incident in Nevada. We see the incident unfold as the underground are evading arrest and destroying property. The Hydra Command tells Captain Rogers that Nevada was the 3rd underground fighter incident for the week, and intelligence chatter suggests they're planning something larger. Zemo says the underground grows there due to the people there offering them safe harbor, and in return, they feel as if they are protected by the underground. Zola suggests that they use dreadnoughts to smash the resistance cells and invade people's homes. Everyone agrees, saying that strength is supposed to be valued above everything else by Hydra. Each time an incident happens, underground recruitment increases, and that they don't fear Hydra as they should. Zola then mentions that the Day of Reckoning has been delayed 3 times now, and questions Rogers if he will finally show their power. As the underground arrive at their headquarters, the Mount, they are approached by Black Widow and Hawkeye, who ask if they made a run for supplies and telling them they have to stop being so reckless when they go out. He then questions who Rayshawn is and deems him as a spy. Rayshawn tells Clint and Natasha his name and that he has brought something for them. It's a flash drive that belongs to Selvig, a Swedish scientist. Rayshawn says he got it from a guy named Rick Jones, and Jones told him the files on the drive would change everything and could help win the war. Steve Rogers is now having dinner with Sharon, and she's upset with him that he's Hydra, saying he's a terrorist who has betrayed his country and everyone he cares about, including her. Steve tells her that although he had to lie to her about many things, he would never lie about loving her. Sharon says, "If you really love me, you will let me go," but Steve tells her it isn't safe yet. He tries to convince her to join him, but she knows that what he's doing isn't good, and at the core, is really just corrupted. She tells him the real Steve Rogers would know that and tells him to spare Rick Jones to prove is the real Steve. Steve shows up to Rick's detention cell, asking who he gave the files to on the flash drive. Steve tells Rick that he isn't a monster and doesn't want to see people suffer, but he can't be seen doing any special favors because he isn't the only one who matters and has to abide by the same principles as everyone else. If not, then everything he has built will fall under the weight of hypocrisy. Rogers now becomes desperate and asks Jones to at least renounce what he's done and say he's sorry for it. He doesn't even have to mean it. He just needs to hear the words. Steve just needs to hear him say, "Hail Hydra!" Rick just continues singing and lets Rogers leave, but not without telling him he is his hero. As Rayshawn is being taken to the drunk, Giant Man gives him a rundown of the mount and warns him that the guy he is being taken to could be kind of, well, nuts. Rayshawn sees an AI Tony Stark and says he has something for him. He hands Tony the flash drive and he just tosses it like scrap, saying he'll get to it eventually. Rayshawn tells Tony that it could fix Captain America, but Tony doesn't want to hear it. He says they've been played by him multiple times, resulting in casualties. Tony tells Rayshawn he was just catfished and that they aren't heroes, just fugitives. There's a short moment between Clint and Natasha that doesn't affect plot much, so I'm not going to go over it all. Basically, what's important to take from this moment is Natasha is telling Clint that he's the one who built all this. He found the mount and brought everyone there. Any normalcy, hope, or safety anyone feels is because of him, and he shouldn't be so pressured and should feel good about what he's done. Now, back to loads of super duper important stuff. Madam Hydra is in a mystic battle with Doctor Strange, who is in the Dark Dimension in New York. She is repelling his mystic powers from breaking the barriers of the Dark Dimension. Captain Rogers walks in, and he and Madam discuss whether or not Rogers should show mercy to Jones, Zola and Faustus plotting against them, and if Steve's doubt is the real source of their empire. But Madam reminds him that they aren't just seeking a nation, not just a world, but the cosmic cube. She tells him he has to find it to restore the world that was and set right what was taken from Hydra. Who lives or dies is just a distraction. She says to Steve, "Now it is time to show your strength to those who have attempted to challenge your powers. Show them how you stand apart and above them, and take back what's ours. Whatever is necessary needs to be done." As Steve goes live on broadcast, narration comes in saying, he recited a speech everyone said they would never forget. Not really the speech itself. They just will let you know where they were, how they changed from it. They saw everything they believed in fall. Evil had triumphed. Some wanted to run and hide. Others wanted to retaliate. Truth is, we all knew nothing could get worse from here. There was nothing left to lose. That's what we thought, but we were wrong. As Rick Jones has been gunned down dead and the underground came out from the mount, they realized the nightmare had just begun. The narration ends with, "In that moment, they showed us that this was our breaking point and that we were powerless against what they were capable of. This is where their empire began." So then all of these Hydra ships come and rain absolute hell all over the city. Now to give a short recap of Secret Empire issue number 1. After a kid named Jason McAllister arrives to school, his American history class talks about the United States Super Soldier program. Jason's teacher teaches the class about how it was Arnim Zola who ran the program while also making forces for Hydra. His teacher also talks about the Great Illusion and how as their allies were losing the war, they made everyone forget who they are and made them think America had won the war. His teacher tells them it was Captain America who restored everyone back to themselves, as the same had been done to him. Jason's brother, Brian, runs in their home and pukes out a Captain America lunchbox that he had promised to get for Jason. Hydra knocks and kicks in the door to arrest Brian for not being registered with his local observation committee because he's an Inhuman. Captain Marvel sends out a distress call, saying they have been attacked and need assistance. Captain America tricked them into building a shield to protect Earth, and now they are stranded on the other side. As the Chitauri fleet approaches them, the call ends with her saying, if they want to beat him, they have to do it together. A kid named Rayshawn is on the run from Hydra forces, as a resistance team called the Underground save him. We see Captain America in a meeting with Hydra Command, discussing what they've been doing to make sure everything and everyone is in check. The Hydra Command all tell Captain Rogers that the Underground have been causing too much trouble and must be stopped and controlled. As the Underground get to their base, Hawkeye and Black Widow mistake Rayshawn for a spy. He tells them he brought a flash drive for them from Rick Jones, who says the files on the drive will change everything and could end the war. Steve meets Jones in his detention cell to ask who he gave the flash drive to, but Jones avoids the question. Steve meets with Madam Hydra to discuss his troubles, and she tells him that to fix everything, he needs to find the Cosmic Cube. Captain Rogers gives a speech on a news broadcast that no one would forget, because that day was the day that the Secret Empire really began, as the Hydra fleet rains havoc over the city. This part of the story picks up in Secret Empire issue number 2. Something I realize I have not been doing at the end of my Comic Talk reviews is giving my personal thoughts and opinions on the comic that we just reviewed. Giving my personal thoughts and opinions on things is something that I do in all the types of content that I make on my channel. Reactions, movie reviews, my other series, Mad Hero News. I always like to share my personal thoughts and opinions on whatever it is I'm discussing or talking about. So I'm going to do the same for my Comic Chat videos. At the very end of these videos, if I have anything to discuss or any personal thoughts or opinions I want to give on the comic we reviewed, I would do so. So for this first issue of Secret Empire, I really absolutely enjoyed it. I love the storyline of Captain America, the one we always trusted, had the most belief in, to have turned against us and is now Hydra. Is such a twist, and in my opinion, it's an amazing twist. I know a lot of people are actually really upset with it, but I'm really happy with it. It's something we haven't seen before, and I'm excited to see where it goes and if they can give us a good story from this. My only criticism of this first issue, and it's nothing big, it's just like, it's kind of nitpicky. I do that kind of a lot, nitpick, and this is just that. It's nothing big, but I think some of the art could have been just, I'm not saying it was terrible, I'm just saying some of the art could have been better. Like, for example, when I saw Sharon, she's either in her 30s or early 40s, and in this issue, she looks like she was in her 60s. So what I'm saying is, some of the art made the characters look older than they really are. So that's my only criticism, really. Like I said, it's nothing big, that's just nitpicking. The artist did a fantastic job. So those are my thoughts and opinions on Secret Empire issue 1, and let me know down below in the comments your thoughts. Also, I know this review is late, but like I said, these take me like a whole day to put together, and it was maybe close to a month ago that I decided to start doing comic reviews, which was after Secret Empire issue 1 and 2 were already out, so that's why I'm a bit behind on these reviews as well. But for those who watch them, I hope you still do enjoy my review of it, as everyone's review is different, so you get something different out of each person's review. So I hope you got something different and exciting out of mine. That concludes this episode of Comic Chat, and for those of you who do watch these videos, I know the past 2 I've put up have averaged around 30 to maybe 50 views, so they're not doing the best on this channel, but I enjoy doing them. So let me know down below in the comments if you actually do enjoy these videos, or if it's just something where it's like, you know what, you just need to stop, okay? So let me know how you're feeling about the videos. I love doing them, so even though they're not doing the best, I'm still going to continue them as long as a certain amount of people are at least watching them. and I have a few people who have commented me saying that they enjoy the videos, so just let me know how you feel about them down below in the comments. I put my all into these, so just any feedback is appreciated. If you enjoyed this video, give the like button a thumbs up, share it, and tap subscribe to join the Mad Squad on our journey to 10,000 subscribers. My name's Joe, aka Mad Joe FC. I hope y'all have a marvelous day. Mad out.